My name is Isabel. I go to the University of Tennessee. I'm the oldest of 3 siblings. I have a younger brother and sister. And my parents have worked really hard to make sure that me and my brother and sister have the best experiences we can. I was a pretty normal college student. I was a sophomore majoring in finance. I was preparing for finals, hanging out with friends and going to a lot of basketball games that semester. I had a boyfriend of 3 years, which didn't end well, but it's part of my sophomore year of college for sure. And it wasn't until after we broke up that I found out I was pregnant. But I didn't know what to think, really. I felt numb or overwhelmed with the amount of emotions I was experiencing. I went to Hope after I went to the Student Health Center. And I just went there, I think, for someone else to talk to. Because I was immediately told to get an abortion. And I knew that I wasn't okay with that. Or I just knew I didn't feel good about it, so I just wanted someone else to talk to, really. We talked about adoption and raising. Those were really the only 2 options I was comfortable with. And I set up a date to go back and have an ultrasound, which was 2 weeks later. And that was pretty cool. It was also really weird because it's oh wow, this is real. I think it just made me feel more confident with my decision not to even talk to anyone about abortion, because I had someone else telling me everything would be okay. And I'm thankful that I went there and got that support, because even weeks after, someone called me and to make sure everything was going okay, and that was really nice. I knew I wanted to do what was best for the baby, and I knew I couldn't provide that because I was still a college student. I would have had to be away from the baby so often, and I wouldn't be financially prepared to take care of a baby on my own, and I also didn't want to put that on my parents. Yeah. So that's a big factor in why I chose adoption.
I'm Jeremy Adams.
I'm Britt Adams.
We've been married for about 6 years now.
We met in Atlanta and started dating.
From dating into engagement, and then engagement into marriage, the idea of parenting and of having a family was so very important to us.
We've been married a few years and decided, okay, this would be a good time to bring a tiny human into our world. We had successfully raised a dog, and so it felt like the natural right next step, right?
Yeah.
And with that, we started to try to see what that would look like, and pretty quickly, months got longer, and infertility entered into our story. We were told you have 0% chance of having children. So we entered into our infertility with doctors, and that experience ended actually pretty quickly, where some people go through years of doctor's visits and try this and try that. Ours was months. And so I think God was kind to us in saying, hey, this has always been part of your story, you just didn't know it yet.
We always thought that there was a plan A, but adoption was plan A. Adoption was always meant to be what we as a couple were meant to do, where God wanted us to step into. And so we wanted to be obedient and step into that.
So we met with a bunch of different families who had, they had built their family in a lot of different ways, international, domestic, and that ultimately led us to domestic infant adoption, which is what we chose.
When I knew that I was gonna go the adoption route, I felt relief, but also was pretty emotional because I didn't necessarily want to go with that option. I wish things had worked out differently, but that's what ended up happening, so.
I'll never forget driving down the road and seeing a phone call from Britt, and she said, "You'll never guess who I just got a call from." And it was our adoption agency. And we had been waiting for about 4 to 5 months and had not seen many expecting moms. It's kind of silent. Mm-hmm. And he's like, there's a girl who is very interested in seeing our book, our profile book. And she's 20 something weeks into pregnancy, and it's a boy. And so for me, I remember just tears falling down my face. We're not even locked in. We haven't even met this girl yet. We haven't even done anything. Just the hope just really lit me up inside. And I remember having to pull the car over and just kind of take a deep breath and calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like all floating back. I haven't thought about this moment in so long. When you're waiting, it just feels like torture, we have said yes to this, and we have already been through so much, and now we're just waiting for someone to see us and say, I think this family could be a good fit for my child, and I think I could trust them. I mean, that's a really hard thing to do. And so when Isabel found us online, I think I don't know what she saw, but getting that phone call and hearing our agency say, somebody wants to talk to you more, it was like, I don't know. It was one of the greatest
Forget everything
moments.
else that had happened.
Yeah, it was one of the greatest moments.
The adoption process was pretty simple for me because I only looked at one family and I only met with them. So when I met Britt and Jeremy, I was kind of angry because they were perfect, and I didn't really want anyone to be so perfect. I wanted any reason not to go through with it, but then I was like, oh my gosh, they're so perfect.
I think the thing that people don't tell you, even our agency didn't tell us about adoption, specifically an open adoption, is that you kind of have to fall in love with the biological mom first before you can ever fall in love with the child she's carrying. Because if we hadn't done that and it had all been about the end goal, which was that we would get to parent a child, that our relationship would not be what it is today. And so we fell in love with her first.
Yeah.
I felt good with them being potential parents because there was a lot of similarities just in our lifestyles and the way I grew up, and everything was so similar that it felt like his home could be similar to how my home was, which was really important to me.
Initially just started to see all these similarities in our lives, these intersections that, are kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
For example, me and Isabel have the same birthday.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those moments of, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but for me and for her, I think especially, it probably felt like a really big deal.
Yeah.
We were able to build a relationship with her over the next couple of months, and I got to go to some doctor's appointments with her, and we were able to talk about
So cool.
names and think about what his life was going to look like, and it was really exciting.
Whenever I was going into labor, I texted Brittany first thing to let her know, and he was born a month early, so he was in the NICU for a week, but that time was really awesome because it allowed my family and Britt and Jeremy to bond.
Not only did we get to fall in love with Isabel through this whole process, we got to fall in love with her parents, her brother, her sister, her grandma, her grandpa. They're all of their friends, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. His full name is Theodore Roy Thomas Adams. Theodore, God's gift. Roy is the men in my family, 5 generations. That's our family name. Thomas is Isabel's men in her family. That's their family name. And so we wanted to honor her and her family in that and being a part of his name.
Now is the real life. We spent months thinking about what this could look like, what our relationship with her would look like. It's been amazing. We've been able to have her come and hang out with him almost once a month since he's been born. We FaceTime with her when she's at school and send her photos. We try to every day, or videos. It's been really fun to be able to share his life with her and her whole family as well. And in the future, we just hope that continues, that we are able to not just send updates from afar, but he's able to actually make memories with her and with that entire side of his family, and look back and see that they have been part of his life all along.
I love getting to see him. I look forward to it for weeks. Yeah. Makes me really happy. It's really nice having someone else to live for, because he's really motivational. I want to make Theo proud and be a good example. I feel really thankful that he's getting the life that he has, and that I'm still going to college and pursuing my dreams too. And we're both getting to have pretty awesome lives.
Isabel, we are so thankful for you. We love you so much. We love your family so much. We're so thankful for your decisions that you've made. We know they haven't been easy, but we are so confident in you and God's plan A for our lives.
Yeah, Isabel, I love you, and it's amazing to think about how God knew that you and our lives were going to intersect months before they ever did. When we were writing Jeremiah 29:11 on his nursery wall, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future. That was the verse you were writing down in your journal every day. It was the thing you were holding on to just when we were holding on to it too. And I believe that for you. I believe that God always had a hope and a future and a plan for you. And I'm so grateful that we got to be part of that. I'm so grateful that Theo is here and you made the bravest, most amazing decision of your life, even though it was also the hardest decision of your life. Thank you for just trusting us. Thank you for opening your heart to us. And we're super honored that we even get to know you, because you're amazing and incredible, and he's gonna get to know you. So we love you.
Yeah.